Well, it looks like it's just about ready to start my program here this morning. Let's see. Yeah, we're getting closer, and it's pretty exciting when things get going here. Hey, hello, my name is Brian Martin, and I write books about love. Isn't that a nice thing to say? Don't you wish that you could say, I write books about love? Well, they are really good books, and I have a few of them around here somewhere I wanted to share with you. I don't know where I put them. Here they are. First one I ever wrote, well, it's not the first one. I did write a dissertation, a project one time. That was quite a feat. And this is called Fun Loving, How to Have a Practically Perfect Relationship. These are all born out of my personal experience. I worked, I trained as a marriage and family therapist and then I worked in a nonprofit, a religious setting. I was the pastor of a church for, well, three churches for a long time. And I did a tremendous amount of work with individuals and families and couples in that particular context. It was, I had them from cradle to grave. And that was a very, 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 very exciting thing to be able to experience those different life transitions with people. And so, dealing with people with difficulties in family relationships, personal relationships, existential questions about life became an expertise for me. And so that's where these were uh, born and developed. Um, I also wrote a book called Kindness is the Most Powerful Little Thing in the World, and it's three types of transformational kindness for everyone. Gosh, I think this should be a mandatory reading for everybody. It's just a wonderful book. These are all available on Amazon, by the way. And then I had writer's block one time when I needed to get over it. And so, I enjoy writing so much. There's a secret to writing, and I can tell you about that too. This is my ideal day of love. It's 24. Its subtitle is 24 hours of love at home and at work. And so there's 24 chapters, but I couldn't keep it all into 24 chapters, and so I spilled over a couple chapters. So that's a fun book. It's not a normal book, you know what I mean? It's one where you just take bits and pieces of it. You look at the contents, you decide what you want to read, and it's a good book that way. This book is Eternity is the E in Love. And when I wrote it, it's experiencing meaning and changing the world with the power of love. This is where I start getting really personal about my life, and I use it. My ideas about love, although they were developed in the context of my working with people, there's a more profound um, area which a fertile bed of growth that my ideas of love grew out of, and that is in my own marriage and my own family. I Jennifer and I call ourselves relationship billionaires. We're not billionaires rich with money, but we're because of our life experience and the work and everything that we've done, we're rich in love. And that's a that's a hard thing to say because how can anybody say they're rich in love? But it's just a matter of fact. Now there are people who are richer than we are in love, and I get that. But nevertheless, that's what it's all about. Now today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to continue reading to you from my old book. Old book is Oxytocin, Sustaining and Growing Your Emotional Connection, which is a fabulous, fabulous idea. You want to grow your relationship. You want it to be strong. You want it to be able to endure difficult times like COVID-19. You have a lot of desires and wants for your relationship and how to make it stronger. And my book, Oxytocin, How to Grow and Sustain. Oxytocin is the O in love, Love. Oxytocin is O in love. And it'll teach you how to do that. Now, today, I have a fantastic reading for you. It's called, this section is called Honoring the Other's Differentiated Self. And don't worry about that big word differentiated because I'm going to explain that to you. But this is a fascinating read and talk about getting personal. So you'll be able to see that in this book. Early in the stages of our life together, Jennifer and I had a symbiotic relationship. I felt like she was an extension of my life. She was part of me, and I felt I was part of her. We were one. That sounds pretty good, right? We had a homogeneous union. We came from the same social class. We shared the same culture. We had the same beliefs and values. And we had the same strong physical attraction. We married young, and our pregnancy experience brought us even closer together. We planned for a family's future. We decided together goals for our children before they were born. When Joanna was born, we had the same goal in life. We even shared the same identity. We were parents. We were Brian and Jennifer, no longer just Brian or just Jennifer. This was all lovely for the most part, but it was a fantasy. We didn't know it was a fantasy. We didn't have any other way to think about it. We just thought this was the way to experience life as one. That sounds nice, doesn't it? My expectation was that Jennifer and I would think alike and agree about most things. This is the fantasy part. Occasionally, she would say or do things that I disagreed with, and I would have to correct her and bring her in line with my symbiotic thought process. By the way, in case you're wondering, that's not good. Since her actions didn't conform to my thinking, she would have to change. As you can imagine, she did not want to conform, and she would try to correct me. Sometimes what she said or did embarrassed me. And as these were gross misrepresentations of our fantasy symbiosis, I would need to strongly correct her. Often when I would back off when her thoughts and her actions benefited me, but mostly our process corresponded to the way that I thought things ought to be. Jennifer and I were in a new stage of our relationship, and maybe I was the last one to be aware of it. What was clear to most people was by now becoming clear to me. Jennifer had gifts, skills, talents, and tools that I did not have. As she developed those gifts into skills, she had skills that I didn't have. Sometimes this troubled me, and I would attempt to duplicate her skills. Usually, it didn't work. These were her gifts and skills, not mine. And when her skills developed into talents, she was differentiated in our community, and she became recognized as something other than Brian and Jennifer. This became more apparent as Jennifer pursued her real estate career. She was actually quite good at it, and still is. She took more and more classes and became a real estate expert. She became a broker and a recognized leader in the real estate community. Mostly, I ignored her differentiated self as I was busy developing my own gifts, skills, talents, and tools. As I was developing my own professional career, let me start again. I was developing my own professional career. First, I completed my undergraduate work and then a graduate professional degree. After that, I completed a second master's degree and I topped it off with my professional doctorate. I had my own talent, which differentiated me in my community. It was in this differentiated process that I almost lost Jennifer, as you read in the beginning of the book. I was so caught up in my own world that we became emotionally disconnected. What was worse than focusing on my own gifts and skills and talents and tools was the fact that I was not honoring Jennifer's differentiated self, her gifts, her skills, her talents, and her tools. What I needed to do was to make Jennifer feel safe with me and more than just stop being so self-oriented and caught up in the world. I needed to honor her differentiated self. What does that mean to honor her differentiated self? Before I share how to honor the other's differentiated self, I want to talk with you about the difference between individuation and differentiating. This is important because some cultures promote the individual over the community, while other cultures promote the community over the individual. Overemphasis on the individual or the community creates an imbalance that is detrimental to both the individual and the community. When this imbalance happens in the home, it has a negative effect. Individuation is the separation of one from the others. When one is set apart from others, one is isolated and alone. Without the support of others, the individual is not likely to succeed. This is tragic for the individual and the others, as the individual gifts and skills and talents and tools are not shared with the community. Individuation creates a loss for the individual, who is isolated and alone, and the community, who doesn't get to share the gifts of the individual. With individuation, one stands alone outside the community. Differentiation is the recognition of one's gifts and skills and talents and tools in the community. Here, one is seen as talented in a specific area and is recognized as talented in the community. The community supports one's gifts and encourages the development of gifts into skills. As one improves their skill, they become talented. As one becomes talented and their tools, they become talented with their tools, they become differentiated in the community. And the one and the community benefit from the one's talents. With differentiation, one stands out in the midst of the community. So there are dozens of examples. A craftsman, a medical professional, a retail clerk, a banker, a dog trainer, a farmer, a salesperson, a manufacturer, blue-collar workers, an elite sports team, a college professor, administrators. Each and every one of these works within a larger community. The value of the talent may vary, but each one contributes to the community by using their talent to help others. Moreover, when the differentiated one is aware of their differentiation and that their differentiation is a help to the larger community, it provides them with a sense of meaning and significance. You may ask, where does this understanding of the world come from? This is how our ancestors lived from the very beginning. Their survival depended upon the development and use of their particular gifts and skills and talents and tools. And I dare say that the future survival of humanity depends upon how you and I use our gifts, our skills, and our talents and our tools. What time is it? Make sure I gotta watch the time. How I honored Jennifer's gifts, skills, talents, and tools. Getting a little bit personal here. Hope you don't mind, but it's a good example, and it's something that I think everybody needs to understand. It just makes your world. Oh yeah, that's how it works in the world, and it gives you the opportunity to develop and to grow it. Finally, I came to my senses and I realized that Jennifer was a completely competent human being. She did not need me to complete her. In fact, if I was not on the scene, she would continue to grow with her gifts, her skills, and her talents and her tools without me. Moreover, her life would grow exponentially without my presence. She does not need me to survive or to thrive. That was a big revelation to me, as you can well imagine. You might think that this might create some sadness in me. It was quite the contrary. It was beautiful to me. It delights my soul. As I have watched and observed her talent, it's been like watching a symphony conductor or the principal dancer of the ballet or Eric Clapton on the guitar or a great artist creating something out of nothing. Sometimes, this is honest truth, sometimes tears well up in my eyes as I watch her use her gifts. It's the same feeling I get when I see any supremely talented person flowing with the stream of their gift. Yes, I was envious. I wanted to be talented too. But the shining star that she is remains amazing to me. She truly is a freaking amazing miracle of astronomical proportions. I honored Jennifer's differentiated gifts by recognizing the beauty of it. I tell her often how amazing her gifts are. Now I know that Jennifer might be somewhat embarrassed by my extravagant appreciation of her differentiated self. I find that most talented people are somewhat deprecating. They realize that they're merely human. They know that others are gifted, many with astounding giftedness. They have a kind of humility while experiencing differentiation. This is the way that Jennifer is. Nevertheless, the beauty of their giftedness in a bona fide, nevertheless, the beauty of their giftedness is a bona fide, observable reality. Obviously, this had an effect on Jennifer. She was aware of my admiration of who she is. Now, she has complete freedom. She has complete freedom to be everything that she can be in the world. She knows that there is no restraint from me. Without my reins, she can run free. And here's where the irony of, and here is the irony of me loving her like this. I realize too that I have gifts, skills, talents, and tools that I can use in the world. Moreover, she inspires me to grow in my giftedness. I also am free. I can be everything I can possibly be. And Jennifer sees it, and like a sacred priest, she blesses my giftedness. And so you can see how Jennifer and I became relationship billionaires. Our love for each other has created this fabulous flow of dynamic energy between us. This energy powers our relationship like fuel powers rockets. We are spinning through our universe, using our gifts and skills, talents and tools, even under the relentless stress of the economy, our community, our health, and the prevailing culture, and yes, even during COVID-19. I cannot say that there has never been a love like ours. I am aware of many. But I can tell you that our love is a gift, and both of us are aware of it. We have parlayed the gift into a skill, and that skill has become a talent, which differentiates us in our community. And we sense an obligation to share with others the same way that many financial billionaires share their wealth with the world. Well, I'm going to stop there. I wish I could say that that was the best part of the reading, but I got to tell you, this book gets better and better and better as we go by. So, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed it. Man, I did. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. And you can always pick up all of my videos on the link that's already there for you. And all of my old book readings are there. All of my ebook readings are there. And also all of my What Would Jesus Think? What Was Jesus Think? Videos there as well. That I produce those on Sunday mornings, early Sunday mornings, and on another Facebook page. It's Rev B. Martin. That's my spiritual Facebook page, as if all of this wasn't spiritual enough. So there you have it. Thanks for joining me today, and God bless you, and stay safe today. It's supposed to be in Fresno, California. It's supposed to be 109 today. So be really careful and get plenty of water. All right? Adios. I like that.